From the very first day Daniel met Anita at an art exhibition, he felt something special. She was different from the others. She spoke with grace, laughed without fear, and seemed so sure of herself. They exchanged numbers, started talking every day, and before long Daniel found himself falling deeply in love. He surprised her with weekend trips, sent her flowers every Friday, and bought her thoughtful, expensive gifts. Anita enjoyed every moment in her mind. She had finally caught a wealthy man who could fulfill all her dreams. One night, while they sat on a rooftop terrace under the stars, Daniel held her hand gently. Then he got down on one knee. "Anita, will you marry me?" he asked, his voice shaking with hope. Anita gasped and covered her mouth. "Yes, of course, yes." She shared the video on social media, and soon messages flooded in. "Girl, you did it. A rich fiancé, your life is set." Her friends cheered. After the engagement, Daniel organized a dinner so both families could meet. Anita's mother, a loud, flashy woman with a taste for gold, beamed with pride. Her father simply raised his glass, saying, "As long as my daughter is happy, we're happy too." Daniel's parents, though wealthy, were gentle and reserved. His mother smiled warmly and held Anita's hands. "Please, dear, take care of our son. He loves you more than anything," Anita replied sweetly. "Yes, Mom, I promise." Then came the wedding preparations. Anita picked the grandest wedding gown in the store. "I want people to remember. This is the wedding of the decade," she declared confidently. Daniel didn't hesitate about the cost. All that mattered was her happiness. He booked a famous band, ordered custom-made jewelry, and even rented vintage cars for the big day. They sent out elegant invitations embossed in gold. Anita also filmed a pre-wedding video, laughing and saying, "I'm about to marry my Prince Charming." But Daniel had no idea Anita was hiding a painful, dangerous secret the night before. The wedding, Daniel lay awake in bed, his mind filled with excitement. He walked to his window, staring at the city lights, and whispered, "Thank you, Anita, for loving me. I'll do anything to keep you happy." Not too far away, in a hotel suite, Anita's bridesmaids were busy chatting and fixing dresses. Anita quietly stepped onto the balcony as her phone buzzed. "Hello, my love. Yes, I'm nervous too," she whispered. "Don't worry, this wedding is only for the money. After that, I'll come back to you. You know you're the one I really love," she laughed softly. "Yes, once I get what I want from him, we'll disappear together. You're my real man." What Anita didn't know was that Daniel had come to surprise her with a midnight visit and flowers. Hidden in the shadows, he heard every word, his heart shattered silently. The bouquet slipped from his trembling hands as he turned and walked away into the night. Daniel stepped out of the hotel, numb and broken. He didn't speak or cry. He just kept walking through the empty streets. The cool breeze felt harsh against his skin, but nothing hurt as much as the betrayal in his chest. Finally, he reached his car, sat behind the wheel, and leaned forward, pressing his forehead against it. Quiet tears fell onto the steering wheel. Moments later, his best friend and best man, Ryan, rushed over. "Daniel, I've been calling you." "Where did you go?" Ryan's words stopped as he saw Daniel's red, tear-filled eyes. "Bro, what happened?" Daniel's voice cracked as he spoke. "Ryan, I heard Anita on the phone. She told someone else she doesn't love me. She said she's marrying me just for my money, and after the wedding, she run away to be with him, the man she truly loves." Ryan's jaw dropped. "What? Are you serious? After everything you've done for her? You gave her love, respect, everything." Daniel nodded weakly. "She called me a fool, Ryan. She said I'm just her ticket to a wealthy life." Ryan's face turned red with anger. "That's heartless. So all this time, the dress shopping, the photo shoots, the family dinners, it was all fake?" Daniel turned, his voice almost breaking. "What did I do wrong, Ryan? I gave her everything. I wanted to start a family, to make her happy. Why would she do this to me right before our wedding?" Ryan put a comforting hand on Daniel's shoulder. "Daniel, listen to me. You didn't do anything wrong. You just loved the wrong woman, that's all." For a moment, silence filled the car. Then Ryan spoke again, firmly. "Whatever you choose to do, I'm with you. If you want to stop the wedding, I'll stand by you. If you want to confront her, I'll be there too. But don't let this break you. You're a good man. You don't deserve this pain. Daniel took a deep breath, wiped his tears, and picked up his phone with shaking fingers. He dialed his mother's number. Mama, he whispered softly, I need to talk to you. Please, don't tell anyone, especially Anita.
His mother's
gentle voice came through the speaker, filled with concern. My dear, what's wrong? It's late. Are you okay? Daniel's voice cracked again. No, Mama, I'm not okay. Meanwhile, back at the hotel suite, Anita had no idea that her world was about to fall apart. Was busy snapping selfies with her bridesmaids. She wore a satin bridal robe, flaunting her freshly done hair, shiny nails, and sparkling engagement ring. Tomorrow I'll finally become Mrs. Millionaire, she said, her voice full of pride. Her friend Lila laughed. Ah, Eva, you don't catch big fish. Your life goes soft now. Eva smirked and whispered, They don't even know. I won't be there long. Once I sign those papers and move into his house, I'll disappear. They all burst into giggles, but none of them knew the game was about to flip, and the groom wasn't laughing anymore. Omar sat quietly on the hotel sofa, his hands trembling around a cup of cold tea he couldn't bring himself to drink. His best friend, Jamal, walked back and forth, anger written all over his face. Incredible. After everything, she still planned this? Jamal muttered under his breath. A soft knock came at the door. Jamal opened it to see Omar's mother standing there. She wore a golden lace dress, her scarf wrapped perfectly, and her face glowed with excitement. But as soon as she saw Omar's eyes, her smile vanished. My son, what happened? She asked, stepping inside quickly. Jamal took a deep breath. Auntie, it's urgent. He told me not to say anything to Eva. Please listen. Omar stood up slowly, looked his mother straight in the eye, and spoke with a breaking voice. Mama, there won't be a wedding. She blinked in shock. No wedding? What are you saying, my child? Omar swallowed hard. I overheard. Eva tonight. She was talking to someone else on the phone. She told him she doesn't love me. She's marrying me only for my money. After moving in, she plans to leave me and go back to him. His mother gasped loudly, clutching her chest. God, Eva? That polite, sweet-talking girl? After we welcomed her into this family? Jamal added quickly, Exactly, Mama. Omar heard every word himself. That girl is a gold digger. Omar's mother shook her head, disbelief turning into sorrow. So all her smiles were fake? The prayers, the laughter, the tears, all to get your wealth. Omar nodded silently, pain deep in his eyes. She stood again, pacing the room. If she loved money so much, she could have just asked. My son would have given without blinking. He's helped strangers and strangers' children. Why betray him like this? Jamal clenched his fists, bitterness in his tone. Some people don't care who they hurt as long as they get what they want. Women like her destroy hearts and feel nothing. A heavy silence fell. Then Omar's mother walked over, gently holding his hand. My son, please don't let this break you. God saved you from greater pain. Imagine if you had married her and had children first. It would be worse. Wipe your tears. Omar tried to smile, but tears slid down his face again. Mama, I truly loved her. I was ready to give her my whole world. She pulled him closer, hugging him tightly. I know, my dear. You loved purely. Let her carry the shame. One day you'll find someone who loves you, not your bank account. Jamal cleared his throat, breaking the moment. So, what now? Guests have already come into town. Some even traveled overnight just for this wedding. Omar sighed deeply. We'll cancel everything in the morning, but tonight I want peace. No drama. I'll face her when the sun rises.
His mother
Nodded, her voice calm but firm. That's wise, my son. Tomorrow speak your truth, but do it with dignity. Meanwhile, back at Ava's suite, she lay on the bed scrolling through photos of herself in her gown trial. Tomorrow's wedding must trend on Instagram, she declared. Her friend Layla opened her makeup kit. Tomorrow we'll make your face glow like royalty, that Omar won't know what hit him. Eva giggled. That soft-hearted fool is already trapped. After tomorrow my name goes on his account, and then ... freedom. She had no clue that Omar had heard it all, and tomorrow, her lies would crumble. The wedding morning finally arrived. It was bright and warm, the sun seemed to dance in the sky. Birds chirped happily outside and the whole city buzzed with excitement. Inside Ava's suite, it was like a movie set. Makeup artists dabbed and brushed, bridesmaids laughed and posed for pictures, and the photographer clicked non-stop. Eva stood before the tall mirror, dressed in her stunning white wedding gown. The dress hugged her shape so perfectly it looked stitched onto her body. Her hair was curled into perfect waves, her silver necklace sparkled under the lights, and her lips were painted a rich shade of crimson. "Girls, how do I look?" Ava asked, turning slowly with a playful smile. Her friend Lila clapped her hands and squealed, "Ava, you look like a goddess. This is the wedding of the year." Another bridesmaid shouted, "Forget it, that Omar guy is blessed. That mansion is yours now, queen." Eva giggled, glancing at her reflection in the mirror. "All my struggles are over from today," she thought. "After this wedding, I'll finally have power and money in my hands." They handed her a bouquet of fresh white roses, adjusted her long flowing veil, and danced their way to the waiting car outside. At the same moment, inside Omar's hotel room, Omar stood still in front of a tall mirror. He wore a deep navy suit paired with a crisp white shirt and a slim silver tie. On the outside he looked calm and royal, but inside, his chest burned with betrayal. Jamal, now dressed sharply in a charcoal suit, walked over and fixed Omar's collar. "You good?"
he asked, voice low. Omar forced a faint smile.
"Yes. Let's get this done." "You sure you want to go through with the plan?" Jamal asked again. Omar nodded firmly. "Yes, she lied to me without shame. Now I want everyone to see the truth. No more pretending." Jamal placed a hand on Omar's shoulder. "Then I'm with you till the very end, brother?" At the wedding venue, everything sparkled. Ivory and gold ribbons draped every chair, and tall flower arrangements perfumed the air. A long red carpet cut through the hall, leading to the altar. Guests had come from far and wide: politicians, artists, family, and business partners. The whole place buzzed softly with whispers. "Omar's wedding is finally here," someone murmured. "Iva is so lucky, what a perfect match." Suddenly, the church doors opened wide. Omar and Jamal walked in together, moving calmly but with purpose. Cameras flashed, phones rose in the air, and the choir's gentle hymn floated through the hall. Omar's shoulders stayed straight. He looked ahead without flinching. He reached the altar and stood beside the pastor, breathing slowly, trying to steady his racing heart. 10 minutes slipped by, filled with whispers and shifting seats. Then came the moment everyone had been waiting for. The arrival of the bride. Ava stepped out of a sleek white limousine, bouquet clutched in both hands, her veil partly covering her confident smile. The light caught the beading on her gown, making it glow. Little children waved, guests stood, and cameras clicked non-stop behind Eva. Her bridesmaids followed closely, wearing shimmering wine-colored dresses, each carrying small bouquets. The organ music changed, swelling louder, and the hall seemed to hold its breath. "Here Comes the Bride," played softly through the speakers. Eva walked slowly along the red carpet, each step measured and graceful. Her heels tapped against the marble floor in rhythm with the music. Her gaze locked on Omar standing by the altar. In her mind she was already imagining the lifestyle, the luxury, the millions in his account. Finally, she reached the front and took her place beside Omar, both now facing the pastor. "Dearly beloved," the pastor began warmly, "we are gathered here today to join this man and this woman in holy matrimony. If anyone here knows of any reason why they should not be joined together, speak now or forever hold your peace." For a brief electric moment, the hall fell completely silent. Not a cough, not a shuffle, only the sound of soft breathing. Then slowly Omar raised his hand. "Pastor," he said, his voice calm but heavy. "Please, may I speak into the microphone?" The crowd gasped loudly. Ava's head snapped toward him, confusion and fear mixing in her eyes. "Omar, what are you doing?" she whispered, her voice shaking. Jamal stepped forward. reached under a chair and pulled out a small wireless microphone.
He handed it silently to Omar. Omar looked at the sea of guests in front of him.
Then at Eva, then at the imam who was waiting quietly.
His heart thudded so hard it almost drowned out his thoughts.
But when he finally spoke, his voice was steady and strong. Ladies and gentlemen, before this wedding goes on, I have something I must say. The hall fell completely silent. The only sound was the soft hum of the air conditioner. Some guests leaned forward, others lifted their phones, sensing something big. Omar's fingers tightened around the microphone. He turned, looking at Eva, the bride who had broken his trust. First, thank you all for being here, Omar began, voice calm but heavy. I know many of you traveled from far, spent money and time to witness this day. I truly appreciate it. Eva forced a shaky smile and grabbed his hand, trying to save the moment. But Omar gently pulled his hand away. He raised his gaze back to the guests. I want to tell you the truth. The truth about this woman standing beside me. Eva's smile froze. Her cheeks paled. She whispered, Omar, please don't.
But
Omar continued, louder now. I fell in love with Eva. I gave her my heart, my trust, and introduced her to my family. I wanted to build a future with her. I believed every smile, every word, every promise. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Someone at the back covered her mouth in shock. Omar's voice shook, but he kept speaking. But last night, I came to surprise her at her hotel room. And I heard her talking on the phone. Not to a friend, but to another man. A man she truly loves. The hall erupted into whispers. Phones were raised higher. Eva's eyes widened. Omar, wait. It's not what you think. But Omar didn't stop. She said she doesn't love me. She said she's marrying me only for money. And once she gets what she wants, she'll leave me and go back to him. Woman in the crowd shouted, Ya Allah. Another clutched her chest in disbelief. Omar's mother stood, her face pale. Jamal stood quietly beside his friend, fists clenched in anger. Omar spoke again, voice breaking but clear. She called me a fool. Said I'm just her ticket to a rich life. All the smiles, all the prayers, the sweet words, it was all fake. A plan to get my name, my wealth, and my family's respect. The hall was buzzing now. Some guests were already streaming the scene live. Instagram Live is on. Facebook too. Someone whispered. Eva's hands trembled. Her bouquet slipped from her grip and fell to the floor. Her lips moved silently. Omar, let me explain. Omar raised one hand calmly. Explain what? He asked, looking her straight in the eye. You said it yourself. You love him, not me. Then Omar turned back to the imam. Sir, with all respect, I can't marry a woman who used me.
this
Wedding is cancelled. Gasps turned into loud cries. Eva's face lost all color. Suddenly, her knees buckled and she fainted right there beside the altar, collapsing like a broken doll. Her bridesmaids rushed forward, trying to hold her up. Her veil shifted, makeup smudged badly, and her hairpiece fell sideways. Someone dashed to bring water. Cameras didn't stop clicking. Click, 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 flash after flash. Within minutes, news hit the internet. Groom cancels wedding at altar after exposing bride's betrayal. Video goes viral. Eva the gold digger trended everywhere. Hashtag wedding of betrayal, hashtag heartbreak at the altar, hashtag Omar speaks. The blogs, the gossip pages, none stayed quiet. Eva, who once dreamed of becoming Mrs. Millionaire, had become the biggest scandal of the year. She couldn't sleep, her mind burned with shame and regret. She opened Instagram and TikTok and saw hundreds of memes about herself trending everywhere. One had her fainting photo with the words, "When you think you're marrying a millionaire, but forget God sees all." Another had the caption, "Oscar-winning performance, gold digger caught live on camera." Eva threw the phone on the bed, covered her face, and screamed into her pillow, "Why me?" But it was too late. Her face had become a joke for millions. Her name a punchline shared without mercy. After days of noise, gossip, and endless calls, Omar couldn't take it anymore. Even in his own home, people whispered. Strangers pointed phones at him when he stepped out. Peace had disappeared. So one cool morning he called Jamal to the balcony. They sat quietly, sipping hot tea. Omar spoke softly. Jamal, I need to leave. Jamal turned sharply, surprised.
Leave? Go where? Omar looked at the distant sky. Anywhere.
Somewhere far away, somewhere no one knows me. If I stay here, the pain will drown me. Jamal's face dropped, but he understood. What about the business? That's why. I called you, Omar said. You've been with me for years. Handle everything, pay the staff, keep things running. Jamal reached out, squeezing his hand. You have my word, brother. I'll guard it like it's mine. Later, Omar told his mother. Her heart ached, but she understood too. She hugged him tight, whispering, My son, go. Find your peace, heal. I'll pray for you every day. Omar packed lightly, no guards, no convoy, no fancy cars. He left in a small public bus, hidden among travelers. 2 days later, he arrived in a quiet riverside town. A place with no cameras, no gossip, no one who knew his name. He rented a small room near the river. Each morning, he'd walk to the banks, watching fishermen pull in nets. He helped children carry firewood, greeted elders politely. To them, he was just Omar, a quiet stranger with kind eyes. Nobody guessed this man once canceled the most talked about wedding in the country. Nobody knew this was Omar, the millionaire heartbroken at the altar, one cool evening. As the sky turned gold, Omar sat on a low wooden bench watching the river shimmer. Just then, he heard soft sobbing behind a tree. He turned and saw a young woman, head bowed, dressed plain and dusty, hugging herself as if the warm breeze was ice. Omar stood, walked slowly over. Excuse me, are you okay? She looked up, startled, eyes swollen from crying. I'm fine, she whispered quickly. I'll go soon. Omar saw her sadness, raw and deep. I'm sorry to bother you, he said gently. You just looked like someone who might need to talk. She hesitated, then sighed. My name is Jessica. I work at the orphanage near the market. Omar nodded softly. I'm Omar. I moved here last month. Jessica looked away, fresh tears rolling. Today makes 15 years since I lost my parents in a car crash, on the way to school. I come here every year to sit and talk to the wind. It makes me feel they still hear me. Her voice broke. I smile for the kids, but inside I'm still broken. Omar sat beside her quietly. After a moment he whispered, Pain knows pain. Only those who've truly suffered understand silence. Jessica looked at him, surprised, then gave a small, sad smile. You speak like someone who's been through a lot. Omar looked down. I have. They sat side by side watching the sunset paint the river. Two strangers, two broken hearts, sharing one quiet evening. The next morning, Omar found himself thinking about her sad eyes and quiet strength. He walked back to the river, hoping to see her, but she wasn't there. Then he remembered the orphanage near the market. He followed the narrow path until he found it. A small worn-out building with a faded sign, Sunlight Orphanage Home. He paused at the gate. Jessica stood there, sweeping the dusty yard, wearing a faded t-shirt and an old wrapper around her waist. But when she laughed with the barefoot children running circles around her, something in Omar's chest felt warm. One little boy rushed up, hugging her waist. Auntie Jessie, I finished my morning work. She bent down, kissed his forehead gently. Good boy, Kenny, go help your sister now. Omar stepped in slowly. Jessica turned, surprised, then smiled softly. Omar, you found the orphanage. I followed the market road, he replied, smiling back. I wanted to see how you do all this. The way you care for them. She set aside her broom. Come, let me show you around. She walked him through narrow rooms filled with tiny beds, chipped paint, and old cupboards. Children ran barefoot, laughing loudly. Some rooms smelled of old soap and sun-dried clothes. But everywhere there was life. In the backyard, a small boy washed shirts while singing. Another girl spread them on a line. Omar was amazed. They're always this cheerful? Jessica nodded, eyes soft. We have almost nothing, but we have each other. They're my family. She turned, smiling. Omar, want to help serve lunch? He laughed. I've never done it before, but show me how. Soon, Omar wore a faded apron, held a big spoon, and stood beside Jessica in the tiny kitchen. Together they dished out plates of rice and beans with tiny bits of fish. Children came one by one, plates in hand, saying, "Thank you, Uncle. Thank you, Auntie Jessie." Omar knelt, gently patting their heads, smiling a real smile he hadn't felt in months. One small girl tugged Jessica's dress, whispering shyly, "Auntie, is he your husband?" Jessica blushed. "No, blessing. Just a friend." But when she looked back at Omar, their eyes locked, and for a moment something silent passed between them. Weeks went by. Omar kept returning. He painted old benches, fixed broken doors, and each visit his heart felt lighter. The small local restaurant she had started working at. Her uniform was plain, her once perfect nails now chipped, and her face looked tired. Bella stirred a pot of soup slowly, her mind far away. Around her, customers chatted, cutlery clinked against plates, but inside Bella's head, there was only silence and regret. She sometimes checked her cracked phone secretly, scrolling past old photos from the wedding day that never was. The white dress, the golden hall, her fake smiles, all now a reminder of her biggest fall. One afternoon, a customer called out, "Miss, another bowl of soup." Bella wiped her hands quickly, forcing a tired smile. "Coming, sir." She walked over, served politely, and returned to the corner where she often hid to cry. Outside, the sun kept shining. People lived on, but for Bella every day felt heavy. Her old friends had stopped answering her calls. Even Sandra, who once laughed with her about the plan, had vanished without a word. One night, Bella lay on her thin mattress, staring at the broken ceiling fan spinning slowly. Tears rolled down her face. "I lost everything," she whispered to the darkness. "For greed, for lies, now I have nothing." She remembered how she had practiced her wedding vows in the mirror, not because she meant them, but to sound convincing. She thought of Toby's eyes that day, the pain, the strength. She had called him a fool, but in the end, she was the fool. Bella covered her face with both hands and cried until sleep found her. Meanwhile, in the city, Toby and Jessica sat together in the big living room of the mansion, now bright with laughter and the sound of children running around during weekend visits. Toby turned to Jessica, holding her hand softly. "Do you regret it, coming here?" Jessica smiled, eyes warm. "Never, because you didn't bring me here for this house. You brought me here for your heart." Toby kissed her forehead gently. "You saved me, Jessica. When I had nothing inside, you saw me, not my money." In the garden, Kelvin and the children from the orphanage played football, laughter echoing through the yard. Toby's mother stood at the balcony, watching, a soft smile on her face. Later, as the sun set, Toby and Jessica walked to the same riverside in the city, quieter now, calm. Jessica leaned on his shoulder. "You really healed here?" she asked softly. Toby nodded. "Yes, and you made it possible." Jessica looked at the sky turning gold. "And you healed me too, Toby. You made me believe love can be real." And so the man who was once left heartbroken at the altar found a woman who didn't see his wealth, only his wounds, and loved him anyway. And the woman who once chased money above all learned, too late, that truth can't be bought, and fake love always ends in shame. This time the love was quiet, simple, and real, and the story, as they say, had only just begun. Video. Life doesn't always give second chances. Sometimes it gives hard lessons. Bella sat by her old window every evening, staring at the street below. Her heart heavy, her eyes tired. The laughter that once followed her everywhere was gone. Once she dreamed of mansions, diamonds, designer dresses. But she traded real love for empty promises, and paid the price. Every night, she whispered Toby's name into the darkness, knowing he would never hear. Knowing his heart now belonged to someone else. And every morning she woke up to the same four walls, the same silence, the same regret. Far away, in Toby and Jessica's home, laughter echoed softly. Jessica's belly grew rounder, and Toby's love grew deeper. He knelt each night to speak softly to the baby, telling stories of rivers, mango trees, and the day love saved his life. Jessica would smile, her eyes shining with tears, and whisper, Thank you for choosing me. And Toby would kiss her gently, answering, thank you for loving me when I had nothing but a broken heart. Their love was not loud or perfect, it was gentle, healing, and true. In the end, Bella's mistake taught them all, real love can't be tricked, bought, or stolen. It finds you quietly when you least expect, and sometimes, losing what you thought you wanted is what saves you. The man who once stood heartbroken at the altar finally found his forever. The woman who was once lost and alone became someone's answered prayer. And the girl who chased gold learned too late that true love was the only treasure worth keeping. The end. If you enjoyed this story, please share your thoughts in the comments. Tell us where you're watching from, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Turn on the notification bell so you won't miss our next story. Bella turned off her phone and threw it on the bed. She buried her face in her palms and screamed from the bottom of her soul, why me? Why now? But deep inside she knew the answer. Greed had blinded her heart, and now the whole world had seen her shame. And while back at Toby's mansion, Toby sat quietly in his study, staring at the dark window, his mind replaying every memory, every laugh, every kiss that now felt like a lie. His mother knocked gently and came in. My son, it's late, come and rest. Toby nodded but stayed silent. His heart felt heavy like stone. Days passed, the news didn't slow down. Every blog, every TV station, every radio show was still talking about the wedding that ended in shame. Bella's name became an insult. Strangers on the street whispered and pointed, children laughed and called her the greedy bride. Bella stopped going outside. Her hair became rough, her face lost its glow, her expensive clothes meant nothing now. At night she lay awake staring at the ceiling, haunted by Toby's words, haunted by her own betrayal. Toby, too, couldn't sleep. He tried to distract himself with work, but even in meetings his mind drifted back to the altar, back to the look on Bella's face when the truth came out. He felt pain, but also relief. God had saved him from a future built on lease. In cold morning, Toby stood on his balcony watching the sunrise. Kelvin joined him, holding 2 cups of tea. Bro, life must go on, Kelvin said quietly. You can't let her mistake steal your peace forever. Toby nodded slowly. I know, but it still hurts, Kelvin. I really loved her, Kelvin sighed. Then love again, but this time love someone who loves you back, not your money. Toby looked at him. Where do I even start? Kelvin smiled. Start by healing your heart, bro. The right woman will come when you least expect. And so Toby decided to leave the city for a while, to breathe, to heal, to remember who he was before the pain. He packed a small bag, left his luxury cars behind, and boarded a quiet bus to a small river town where no one knew his name. Among simple people, Toby found peace. He walked by the river, helped fishermen carry nets, watched the sunset with an open heart. His phone stayed silent, his mind became calm. That was where fate brought him to meet Jessica, the woman whose quiet strength that would teach him that true love doesn't come with lies or plans. It comes softly without warning, and when it does, it heals the deepest wounds. But for Bella, her nights stayed long and restless. Her phone stayed silent except for calls she didn't want to answer. In the mirror, she saw the cost of her choice, her beauty fading under the weight of regret, because in the end, Bella didn't just lose a wedding, she lost the only man who truly loved her, not for what she could give, but for who she was. Before the lies, before the greed, in that loss haunted her more than the shame, more than the gossip, because she knew it could never be undone. End.